going to be doing is we're going to put the solenoid, install the solenoid so that it can control my driving lights here or my fog lights here. Okay, so the reason why I'm doing this is like this, guys. Now the fog lights here are wired straight to the battery here, okay, or to that 30 amp fuse there. So the problem that I have is that sometimes, you know, I forget to turn off the lights, and so it drains the battery. See, like sometimes I would leave this switch on, see, and as you can see here, ta-da, it drains the battery. So how do we solve that issue? So to solve that issue, you need a relay or a solenoid like this one right here. The solenoid here is a heavy duty solenoid. As you can see here, it's a 12 volt 100 amp, okay, ground. The body here is ground solenoid, so which requires a 12 volt positive wire to be grounded here. So I need to, so then what it is I need to find a place under my fuse panel here where if I should turn on the key here, okay, if I should turn on my engine or the key, it'll come on, and that's what I need to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire that to I don't know, maybe a accessory right here, okay, or I'll turn it into accessory here, because this thing comes on whenever I turn on the key. So it's 15 amps, so that's enough for me to install that the solenoid. So the solenoid here, it requires very, very small amount of amperage, so it should be safe to route the power to here. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And how this is going to be, okay, is that I'm going to mount it on the firewall here, someplace maybe like right here, like that, okay, and it's going to be mounted like this, and this is how it's going to do it. I'm going to do it. See this wire here, that's the power line. This wire that I'm holding, that's the power line to here. So I'm going to splice this wire here, okay, splice this wire here, and I'm going to put one end of the wire here to here and the other end to here. So when I turn on the engine, this thing automatically connects. This thing automatically turns on, providing the power to the light there, well, to the switch inside the cabin. And if I don't use that switch, the lights will never come on. However, if I should use that switch, and let's say I turn off the light or turn off the engine, this the area where I route the power to this little prong right here, that the power there will shut off. Okay, it will shut off, and what that eventually do is that it will disconnect the power to these two ends here, thereby disconnecting the power to my fog lamps here. And that's how I'm going to save the electricity. You can do this to a a relay. You can hook up a relay to it too, but I chose to go this route. So here we go. So to begin this project, you take your solenoid here. Oh, I forgot to tell you that this is a pretty cheap solenoid, and it's a continuous solenoid, and it's only about 14 bucks from eBay. And so to do this, how to install this, you have to find a place on your firewall or anywhere in the engine bay Okay, so here I'm gonna be mounting this here. Okay, and so I'm gonna find a spot, and you can use a marker or lead pencil, and I'm gonna find a spot where I know that I'm going to be drilling a hole to hold the solenoid in place. Okay, so this spot right here and this spot right here, that's where I'm going to drill a hole. Okay, so and the way this is shaped, it allows for room for errors, you know, because it's not really circular, it's like that. So I'm gonna find something to drill this, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I've used a self-tapping, screwing bolt here, or screw here. It looks just like this, to drill a hole into here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal this with a type of silicone, so that when I tighten this in, it'll seal any moisture from going into the cabin. And I'll be right back. So this is my liquid tape. It's sort of like a sealer, and when it's sealed, it's basically rubber. So I'm going to be doing it to this one as well. It's also an insulator. This liquid tape is. And you could put this on your screwdrivers or metal to make it insulated. So this goes here again and again. This goes here. Okay, so now that you have this mounted, okay, make sure that you disconnect the battery to your car, because this wire here is live, even though it's not connected to the, even though I haven't turned on the switch. This part of the wire is live, and this part of the wire isn't. So make sure that you have yourself safety comes first. Okay, so I'm going to disconnect the negative side of my terminal here, the battery side here. So always practice safety and precaution, and the reason is because you don't want to have a electrifying experience holding any live wires. Okay, so if you don't know how to disconnect your battery, I would say that please get help, okay, from a professional, unless you know what you're doing. Okay, so right now the wire is disconnected. The positive wire, or the negative wire to my battery terminal is just disconnected. Right now the whole engine is there's no electricity to it, so it's safe to touch these wires, knowing that you're not going to get a electrifying experience. So the next step is to cut this wire and put this wire here, and the other wire, install it here. Okay, you notice that this part right here, this is the third wire here. This goes to the positive side of your battery, or to a terminal inside the cabin, where when you switch on the ignition, it comes on. Okay, so this wire here will go into the my fuse box inside the cabin, and that will power this unit here. Okay, you'll get what I mean when I do this. So I'll be right back. I'm going to get a wire snipper to snip this wire, and I should be okay. Okay, so I've just finished cutting this wire off, and so now what I am going to do is I'm going to be stripping this. Okay, I'm stripping the end of this wire here. Okay, just to let you know, I found out that I didn't have a connector big enough for this prong here. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap this around here like this and then tighten it so that it's big enough. Make a loop into this, okay, so that once the loop is good like that, I'm going to loop this like this. And you know, the right way to do this is get a connector, but being that I don't have a connector right now, I'm going to do this. Okay, and then use the supplied nuts here. The supplied nuts here has a lock nut that'll lock into the thread there, and it won't come out. This goes here, like so. And this other nut will go on the other end, like okay. Okay, so that works there. So what I like to do is I like to dab my thing here to this, like so. So once it hardens, it's basically plastic. That's just me. Okay, so then this other end right here, what I'll do here, strip this part right here as well. Okay, and then use the supplied washer. So that's tight. And the reason why, I like to put plastic here, this liquid tape here, is so that if I should accidentally drop metallic stuff into here, at least this acts like a barrier, so that it doesn't ruin or short something here. And this liquid tape can be easily removed with a sharp razor. Okay, so that's good for me. Okay, so that's that. So let's try this. Okay, so see that's on, right? Okay. So let's go turn on the lights, and I'm gonna flip the switch in there, and you'll see that it's not working. See, the fog light isn't working. That's because the solenoid isn't hooked up to a power source. So the solenoid acts like a switch. It's like an electric switch, and once I hook up power to this right here, it'll turn on like that. Okay, so now we're gonna have to work on routing a power source to here, and I'm gonna take out my little electrical meter and check out inside. All right, let me go and turn off that light first. Oh wait, disconnect the battery. There you go. It's disconnected. No, I need to I need to turn it on. I'm sorry. So let's go check for a power source. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. You get your multimeter here, okay, and then you set it up on to 12 volt. You can see 12 volt here. Okay, set it up to 12 volt to a voltage reading. Make sure it's set to DC. Okay, the negative side you use an alligator clip, something like that, and clip it to ground it to somewhere where you know that the it's got good grounding. Okay, and then this will be for the ground. See the ground, the black probe here, that's for ground. And then as you can see here, this will be the positive probe. So what I'm going to be doing, okay, is basically, I don't know if my camera can see this. Let's see. Okay, I don't think my camera can record that. I don't know if my camera can see. Okay, so this is the accessory fuse that I'm going to be using. Okay, to run my my solenoid. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're checking for live voltage. So here, I'm checking here, and let's see. It's not live. Let's see. And it isn't live as well. Okay. So let me put my keys in. And then we should have live voltage. Okay, so it's recording 11.73 volts. On this side, it's not recording anything. Okay. And so that's the power right here. So, okay, so if I turn it off, okay, this is reading . It's not reading anything. So, I'm gonna use this right here. And how I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna route the power or the line that feeds my solenoid into the firewall. I don't know if you could see the lines there, but the red lines that's coming in, okay, like those two red lines right there, I'm gonna route it through there. Okay, so let's go in and route it through there. Okay, so how I am going to do this, guys, is this. I have an extra line here, and let's disconnect the wire power supply to the car, disconnect the battery, and you follow these lines right here. There's an opening down there where all the wire gets enters the firewall. And if you have a different car than mine, you'll find, just follow the wire, they'll go into this little opening that has something similar to mine, where you can't access the firewall and stuff things into it. like how I'm doing. Okay, there she goes. So it's going in. Okay, so I'm gonna go inside and check. I'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see, I pulled it out. So now I'm gonna make it so that this thing will go up into there, like that, okay? So I have to strip this wire here so that it will slide in with my fuse. Okay, and I'll show you as soon as I strip this. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is how I'm gonna strip it. You strip this like that, okay? And then what you do is you make a little curve like so that you can insert it like sort of like this into it. Okay, but being that this wire here is so big, I'm gonna have to cut some of the wires here so that I can make it fit or make it go in with the fuse. Okay, so now the fuse here will take this like that up. Yeah, so you get my drift. So then I don't know if I can take it. I don't know if my camera can see this. Let's see. No, I don't think my camera can see it. Let me pause this and show you how it looks like after I do this. Okay, so that's how it goes in, guys. Like that. And so let's go and cut the other wire and power up the solenoid. So I got this thing out. Okay, pull this out. So now what we're going to do is we are going to cut this wire here, and like I said earlier, like I showed you earlier, this wire here comes from the 15 amp accessory, this wire right here. Okay, and so we're going to strip this wire, the top, so we could install a connector. Okay, see that? We've stripped it like that. Okay, we're going to install it into this connector right here, like so. And so we'll crimp it like so. And it's pretty nice and tight. Okay, so the crimp is pretty nice and tight. So the next step is to put this right here. Okay, now remember, in everything that you do, make sure that the battery is disconnected. Okay, and I've already disconnected my battery. So now you take the lock washer from the supplied bag. Okay, take your little wrench. Okay, so that's tightened. We're done. Okay, we're done. So then we are going to put this in here, and you'll notice that there's no power here. Okay, so let's go and turn on the power. And you'll notice still no power here. Okay, so now we are going to turn on the key this time. Okay, we're going to turn the key. So now you will see that there's power. Okay, because this unit here has been powered by that wire there. And that's how you install the solenoid into the system here. And you could turn off this. Check this out. And the power will be off. And you could turn this thing on. And the power will be on, and you can see the fog lights. And then, let's say you forgot to turn it off because you're in a haste, and you pull out your keys. See, my keys. And it's off. So no more battery draining, guys. And that's how you install a solenoid onto your fog light system so that it doesn't drain your power when you forget to turn it off. I hope that you find this helpful, and I hope that it could be of good use for you. Bye-bye.